is Sunday, so we all know what that means. It is time for a reading update, and I actually started a different book last week actually, which is, I actually have it right here, and that's Blood Over Brighthaven. It's okay, it's going okay, but I actually got my hands on this thing, on this freaking book, and I was contemplating whether I should just stick it out with that, finish reading it, you know, so it's just in my perfectionist brain, it feels complete. But I couldn't have this on my desk and read a different book, if you know what I mean. I couldn't look at this and pick up a different book. So this is why I'm starting the reading vlog for Sunrise on the Reaping right freaking now. I will say that I know this book has been out for a little while, and I know that I'm sure there's loads of people that have talked about it. I know the movie's confirmed as well, so I'm a little late, but I also have every intention to want to read this, so we're reading it now. I didn't know if I should make a whole video on one book, but also it's a Hunger Games prequel, so obviously I'm gonna make a whole video on it. Like, it makes sense, so that's what we're doing. But yeah, I'm finally reading second prequel of the Hunger Games series, Sunrise on the Reaping. If you are unsure or you don't know about this universe, Hunger Games is the trilogy that was written, God, I don't really know actually. I was in like primary school, so maybe 2013, I could be wrong. I don't know why I'm trying to tell you these facts that I have not verified. And then recently, a couple of years ago, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, which is Snow's villain origin story / the beginning of the Hunger Games. And now this has come out. So this is following Haymitch's Games, which is the 50th annual Hunger Games. So I'm very excited. I've already started because I couldn't wait. And yeah, I'm actually enjoying it a lot. I don't want to give away too many things because I know that I could spoil anything by saying anything, but I guess I could say I'm enjoying it so far. It's really interesting to read about the Hunger Games from a different character's perspective, and also because I've read Ballad of Songbirds, so that's OG, that's like the very first games, and obviously we've got Katniss's games. So in my brain, I'm like trying to understand, okay, in 50 years, how have the games, what are the tweaks and the improvements and what's happened, but then also, oh no, but then also, how is it different from the 74th Hunger Games that Katniss is in, and how is it a little bit more primitive than those games, you know? So it's been interesting. I haven't read that much, but I thought I should intro the book before I get through most of it. But yeah, very, very excited. Kind of crazy that I'm back in this world, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this is the cover. So yeah, that is my thoughts. I will update you as I read this. I probably will just read a whole chunk and then update you. I might just finish the book. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? I finished Sunrise on the Reaping yesterday. Today's Sunday, and I don't even, yeah, all I can say, very excited for the movie. I guess I'll just start off with my non-spoiler thoughts, and then I'll get into spoilers, just because I do want to talk about some of the things in this book. But yeah, I'll get started with the general. I'm not going to say too much about the plot, but as I've mentioned before, this is Haymitch's Games. I think I made a mistake in the very first clip saying that Snow's Games was like the first Hunger Games. It was actually the 10th Hunger Games. That detail slipped my mind. So it was the 10th Hunger Games in Snow's Games, and this is the 50th Hunger Games, which is the games that Haymitch is a tribute in. And it's a quarter quell. I don't think this is a spoiler, but essentially because it's a quarter quell, the twist is double the amount of tributes are reaped in this game, in these games, and oh my god, very similar trajectory, like journey, to Katniss's games, where we go through the reaping and then all the pre-game routines of the interviews and stuff. Then we get into the arena, and then we have host games, the consequences, if you will. It was so entertaining. It was so nice to actually, I think the most satisfying things were reading about a different arena, from a different point of view, and understanding the different tactics different characters were taking to survive. It was just so cool to read. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can say about this without giving spoilers. Just the creativity. That's why we're here, you know. It's just, the writing is nothing crazy. It's not like, we're not here for the writing, we're here for the plot and the characters. And I think Haymitch is such a perfect main character because he's so different from Katniss. He's more charismatic. He has such a fondness for District 12, and not that I don't think Katniss wanted to protect District 12, but I think Haymitch has more familial, like, connections that he wants to protect. And there's so many more interesting characters, and it was just so fun to read. The pacing was incredible. I feel like we got a good amount of stuff happening outside of the games as well as in the games, so that was good. But yeah, it was very entertaining. I will say, definitely read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes first. Well, actually, read Hunger Games first, then Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then Sunrise on the Reaping, because Sunrise on the Reaping is it really is like in between Songbirds and Snakes and Katniss's games, and you really need to read both to understand what's happening. It was just, so entertaining. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can say about Haymitch's games without breaking. I can give a little nod. There's some old characters that come in, and that's why I'm very excited for the movie. But yeah, you do see Snow again. He's a little bit older. He's really solidified into the version of Snow that we know from Katniss's games. So yeah, I am going to get into spoilers now. So if you don't want to hear any detail that could ruin this book, you can stop watching, you can click off, you can leave, because I didn't watch a single video about this book. I still haven't actually, so if you want to keep everything a surprise, which I definitely recommend, don't watch anything after this point. But I just need to talk about some of the things in this book. Insane. Okay, so let's first talk about the plot. Haymitch's reaping situation, the fact that he wasn't even meant to be reaped, that was obviously first twist. And it just kept building. I think the thing that surprised me the most was how much the games are a mess. Like, I haven't read Hunger Games in a while, but from what I remember, those games were so seamless, everything was so controlled, and maybe that was what it was the height of capital control. But yeah, when they go down in the chariots to the presidential mansion, all the tributes, and that whole debacle of like the crashing and like Luella like flying out of the chariot and like dying, and that was crazy to me. I just didn't expect the games to be such a mess. Like, I thought they would have had it more seamless and more controlled, but I guess that's the point, right? Like, there's a lot of cracks already. Speaking of cracks, again, maybe I didn't read deeply enough into Hunger Games, but I didn't expect for these games to have like a sense of rebellion in them, or for characters to want to fight back, and to actively make plans. Specifically, we have BT and Plutarch in this, and Plutarch really like making moves to try and bring down the Hunger Games. Like, I was not expecting that. But it kind of makes sense, I guess, that they've always been working in the background, trying to fight back, trying to build an army, trying to do things. I didn't have any expectations from this book, so I literally did not realize that we would be seeing the inner workings and things like that. But that was a huge surprise. I think why we love the Hunger Games is the insidious, insane, cruel twists that happen. I mean, obviously the human body double of Luella, that was painful to read about. And then obviously BT's son, and that whole him having to mentor his son who he knew he was gonna die. I was like, oh my god, it was too much. Anyway, so yeah, then we enter the arena. Oh my god. Actually, the arena that I was really intrigued by was Wirus's one, the one full of mirrors, which was the games right before, I believe. That would have been so cool to read about. But yeah, this arena, the whole it's like a meadow, and then it goes into like a forest, and there's like a mountain range. But the idea is like the whole thing is gorgeous, it's beautiful. Specifically the smell, like the senses, you can just understand like what he's talking about. It's like this suffocatingly sweet, like everything's meant to look almost like inviting and comforting, but actually there's like this sickly smell to it all, and it makes you realize like it's almost like poisonous. Like it's pretty, but it's poisonous, which I feel like captures obviously Snow's. That was one of the biggest points I remember reading in Hunger Games, was whenever there was a scene with Snow in it, there would always be this scent, like this sickly sweet like rose scent, and it was so the symbolism and everything to do with the fact that the arena now represented that. So cool. Yeah, as I said, really interesting. I almost feel like it was very similar to Katniss's journey in the games, where she kind of went off on her own, but then she kind of found her way back to some allies, similar to Haymitch. The whole breaking the arena plot, never would have like guessed that, never would have assumed we would be trying to break the Hunger Games. But again, it's such a mess that now I can see why it almost is a possibility, because they're not very smooth. The game makers being in the games themselves, that was really odd to me. I was like, why is there staff like in these games? Like, that was crazy. Yeah, it was I was so curious in the film how they're going to CGI and do the like massive animals, like the massive butterflies. I could see that, but like the massive water birds that attacked Macely, like I'm not a fan of birds. Like, I don't know, like how are they gonna do that? Even the huge ladybugs that they're exploding full of blood, like how are they gonna do that? But yeah, I'm also really curious to see the scene of Haymitch breaking through the hedge and then going to that cliff face where the generator is. Like, wonder what that's gonna look like. Is that part even filmed? Like, I know it's not, like, because that's what the recap was showing, that it didn't. Well, wait, no, they did show it because that's how Silka died. But like, is that part of the arena, or did he quite literally break outside of the arena? Like, I really want to know. Yeah, very fascinating. I kind of assumed that all of Haymitch's loved ones would die. It's kind of classic Hunger Games, isn't it? Like, to really drive the nail in, let's kill everyone he loves. So I kind of saw that coming. I saw his house being ruined because we need to force him into the Victor village, right? So we got to get rid of that. But yeah, the plot was insane. The plot was completely unexpected. I could never have written I could never have guessed what was going to happen. But I'll move on to the characters now, because some key people. Haymitch, as I said, so charismatic, so doting on Luella, and it's just different. Like, Katniss is she's a bit more reserved, she's very uncomfortable, she doesn't want to be there, and it honestly made me appreciate Katniss so much as a character because of what she ended up being able to do, despite how she's not really a people person, she doesn't want to lead the rebellion, but she does. And like, anyways, I just really appreciate Katniss and how we got Katniss so long ago. But very fun to read about Haymitch. His love interest, Lenore Dove. So as soon as I heard her name and how she got her name and the fact that she's a Covey girl, is she a descendant of Lucy Gray? Is that what's being implied? Because even her grave is near Lucy Gray. Like, did Snow end up killing Lucy Gray? Like, is that what's being implied? I just have a very strong feeling that she is a descendant of Lucy Gray. That's why those are her uncles that look after her, because they were close with Lucy Gray. How many times can I say Lucy Gray? The fact that Dove is a shade of grey. You're kidding, right? You're kidding. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I would have expected Haymitch to have a completely different love interest, but then the fact that his love interest is like a doppelganger of Lucy Gray, that was surprising. I don't know, is that the link between Snow and Haymitch that we've wanted to set up? Is that always been the case? A lot of the stuff in this book, I was always like, is this how it was always meant to be, or did this just come about because the book was being written and it made sense to bring everyone back and have all these past connections? I'm not sure. I still enjoyed Lucy Gray. Sorry. I enjoyed Lenore Dove as a character. She was a little bit more... Well, she's not as much of a main character in this book, I feel. She's still got that musical side to her, and she has that, rebellious nature to her as well. So very, similar characteristics to Lucy Gray, I would say. But I think her role in this book is to serve more as... she's more the love interest of Haymitch, and more the kind of... We're trying to understand why Haymitch is the way he is, and I think because we lose Lenore Dove, it's really... she's more the tool to understand Haymitch's backstory a little bit more. But yeah, the little nods to Lucy Gray with the flashes of colour that she wears. Yeah, interesting. My favourite bit of this whole book, favorite bit, was when we had Mags and Warris as the mentors. Never would have expected that. Never in a million years would I have expected that. But it was so nice to see, and this is why I'm so excited for the movies. And then Effie came in, and I was like even more excited. She just nailed Effie's personality. Like, she is so she's so brainwashed into the Capitol's thinking, but she has such a sweet heart that you can't hate her. Anyways, just love that she was there. Who else? BT being there. I mean, BT and Warris were such key players in Catching Fire that I'm so happy that they're back in this book, because I want to see them again in the film. But yeah, that's probably my favourite bit. Mags, Warris, and BT, Effie, yeah, them coming back. Plutarch, very interesting. We didn't really get an explanation as to why he's being rebellious, or why he's trying to plot against the Capitol. Actually, he gives a hint of wanting freedom, but his whole family's quite affluent, they seem to be doing really well, so that never got explained. So that's very curious. I'm unsure. We get a little bit of Snow in there. It makes me wonder, when Snow had that one-on-one with Haymitch, basically threatening him, does he do that to all of the tributes that cause trouble. Like, surely Haymitch is not the first one to be problematic and, you know, inviting a little bit of rebellion. Does he go around, like, having one-on-ones with every tribute in every year of the games, like, to warn them or threaten them? And I don't know, like, is that his pattern? Because he did it with Katniss and he's doing it with Haymitch. So, yeah, we see his health declining severely because he's been doing this whole thing where he kills people by poisoning them, but he's also ingesting the poison to show that it's not poisonous, but it is, obviously. And he is weird tactic, but okay, so like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to do, yeah. So those are some of the key characters I was obsessed with. We need to talk about the epilogue. The epilogue. What the heck? What the heck? I mean, the fact that Katniss is Burdok's daughter, it hit me. It hit me right freaking there. I was like, okay. And we get like a time jump, and Katniss is delivering these geese eggs because Haymitch filled her in and she now knows. And like, I was like, are we gonna get that in the movie? Because if that's after Katniss's games, does that mean Jennifer Lawrence is coming back? Does that mean we get Jennifer Lawrence and Woody Harrelson in a scene and she's giving him a basket of eggs? Is that what we're gonna get? Because I will cry. Okay, maybe I won't cry. No, I will. So the epilogue was insane. The fact that we got a little snippet of Haymitch, like, he's aware of Katniss when she's little. Like, I didn't even think about that, because obviously, like, we're reading Hunger Games from Katniss's perspective and it's starting right before the reaping. But to know, like, he was friends with her father, they grew up together, he used to see her when she was little. I don't even know what to say. That was so, yeah. So, overall, obviously it's 5 stars. I feel like I can't rate this fairly because it's a Hunger Games book and it's the Hunger Games. Like, I can't. It's gonna be a 5-star read. But I do think I enjoyed Songbirds and Snakes more. I think I just love a villain origin story that will never... And Lucy Gray was, like, it was the first version of that kind of character, and that whole backstory and Snow's descent almost into what he is now, and that will forever be iconic. And the soundtrack to that film, insane. So I'm not trying to compare the two, because I think we all can agree we want this and we want to read about Haymitch's games. But in terms of which one's better, I do think I prefer that one, and I very much was obsessed with that one. I think I read it twice in one after the other. I was so obsessed. This I'm definitely going to reread before I watch the film. So yeah, very excited. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to say? Oh, I didn't mention the most insane scene of Haymitch quite literally feeding Lenore Dove the poison that killed her. That, I mean, I knew it was going to be bad. Like, I knew it was going to be the most poetic ending. But yeah, just feeding her the gumdrop and then realizing the color of the gumdrops. Yeah, that was soul destroying, but didn't expect anything less. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me just digest this book and just contemplate and unravel everything that happened. This is the best part of reading, is when we get a book from a universe that we are already obsessed with and love. So this is just so fun. Yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!